Hello YouTube, this is Gar Anime 5 with a review and or discussion video for Pandora Hearts Retrace 90 Clock Tower. Now I was looking on YouTube earlier for any other YouTubers who might be discussing and reviewing newer Pandora Hearts chapters, and I couldn't find one. And there might be one or two scattered out there, but I couldn't find them. If you do, then please let me know. But because I'm interested in other people's thoughts on this, but as of right now, I decided, okay, might as well do one myself. So, Clock Tower. At this point in the story, I have no idea where she wants to take this, and that's very refreshing right now. But it's also kind of scary because it could go in so many directions with this time travel plot line going on, or I wouldn't say time travel, more time manipulation. But it could go in any number of directions, and none of them I have any solid predictions for. But for what's in this chapter, first we see, Odda is still alive, or Ida, not sure how to pronounce her name exactly. I'm going to call her Odda because that's how I see her name pronounced. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But she's still alive and everything, and that was never really a concern of mine after last chapter. Of course she'd be alive. I doubt that Noise would have killed her off like that in such a short amount of time. It's possible, I suppose, but didn't think it was, and it is pleasing to see her alive. I am curious what it was exactly that knocked everyone off of Griffin, because it showed that those reaction shots, and it didn't show what knocked everyone off, what separated everyone. Was it the city forming? Was it chains coming out of the sky? Or was it something else entirely that'll come up in future chapters? I don't know, we'll see. But I'm very curious about that. Another thing is, when Ada was scared and, running from Noise and everything, she was listing these people off in her head as kind of like pleas for help. And she listed Vincent last, with the most emphasis. After Oscar, Oz, and Gil, she listed Vincent. Now, I hope to see a flashback to see more the process of Ada falling for Vincent, because we never really got very into that. We saw her before she met him and everything. We saw her after. We've seen her after falling for him, this whole time in the entire manga. But we never saw what really caused her to develop these feelings for him. What could we just boil it down to plain simple seduction? Or was it something else? Did she glimpse something in him that really sparked her interest? I'm really hoping that we get to see more elaboration on this, because it's one of the I don't want to say it's a weak point, but it is one of the areas of the story that could really use some more exploration, no matter how little it might be. Just a little more light shed on that would be very welcome. Now, chains interrupting. The chains coming out of the sky kind of interrupted Noise and Ada, Noise looking for Ada and all that. Could it be possible they're going to be helping each other in future chapters for the time being, because all these chains are invading and everything? I don't know, thought crossed my mind. Might be a little fun to see. Who knows? Probably won't happen. Oz looks awesome after killing those smaller chains that came through the sky, though. Protecting all those people, that little pose he takes after it, that looked really cool. Owl is also adorable. I can't find another way to describe it. It's size changing so much, and they showed that little panel of him with really being completely shrunken down. It was completely adorable. I saved that. I couldn't not save it. It was too cute. They referenced Rufus Barma for a short time, and that got me thinking: is he still alive or is he dead? Because we don't really know. He fell off that cliff, but it could have served as a character death. It could not have. He could be alive. He could be dead. I don't want him dead. I would understand perfectly if he was, though, and that would serve as a good character death for him at that point because of his impact on the story and everything. But I kind of hope he isn't dead, just because I only recently really started to like Varma. I reread the series recently, and after taking everything in, after knowing where all these directions go, it helps you focus on what was there before. And I really appreciate all the characters more now, but Rufus is like shooting up in my list of character favorites because, namely, knowing his intentions, like in the recent chapters, and that whole love conversation he had with Glenn, that was hilarious. That's that really helped me like appreciate his character more, and looking back on him more, I'm noticing more of these little quirks he had back then and earlier in the series that are really making me like his character more and more and more, which is gonna really suck if he's dead now. And speaking of dead characters, we'll get to Break soon, though he's not dead yet, but we'll talk about that. Jack. His re-entry was really well handled. He looks very menacing in that reappearance shot. I never thought he was really gone. I never thought that Oz completely eradicated him from his mind after that whole Oscar pep talk thing, because Jack, that could have been his last stand, I suppose, but it would have been a little anticlimactic. Plus, Jack is just too influential to just go away like that at this point. I had a feeling he was going to come back, and I'm very glad to see him back because he's honestly one of the most fascinating aspects of this series. Retrace 65, anyone? Oh, that moment's going to stick forever in my mind. Alright, but yeah, his appearance looks really good. He really got across that idea that he really is like a shadow or shell of the man he used to be at this point. Or was that all he ever really was, and this is just the most accurate representation of him we'll ever see? Either way, he looked, the design, the whole how it was executed was very nice. I have no idea what deal Oz might want to make with him, though, and I'm curious to see where that goes, but I'm drawing blanks on that. Now, last but not least, the obvious, extremely obvious foreshadowing of Break's death in this chapter. Is it going to happen or is it not? Because there's so many obvious, foreshadowing moments. His talk with Riem, and just in this chapter, his talk with Riem, the "don't throw your life away." Like, obviously, that's like neon lights flashing there that he's gonna die. His sword dropping out of his hand after fighting a chain for a second. That happy talk of the tea party that Oz had for a second, which, side tangent for a second. I'm saying for a second a lot in this. For that, it felt a little bit out of place, I dare say. And guys, I understand. After all the mental trauma you've gone through recently, you need a little chill time and everything you need to be happy for a second. But Glenn's kinda able to screw with the timeline at any possible second right now. You guys are already hours behind on this. He could have succeeded a long time ago while you guys were still recovering, and now you're taking the time to talk about a tea party while the world is falling apart around you. The chains are still severed and everything. And the way it was executed and everything, it was fine. And and Oz did acknowledge that he really shouldn't be talking about these things like that right now. But it stuck out to me a little bit, and it's not necessarily a flaw, more of a nitpick really, but something I noticed and a little tiny bit bothered me. Back to Break though. He's also now the first to encounter Glenn. How lucky is he? Really, the blind man happens to stumble upon the place that gets there. I'm thinking Sablier, or I don't even know how to pronounce it correctly. The place itself, how it screws around with everything, especially with the Abyss influence. It probably has something to do with it. So it's believable that Break would end up there. But will it really happen? Will he really die? I'm not sure. someone else might die instead of him, and she might just throw us all for a twist like that and make it completely fitting and everything. But that's one thing that I really have faith in this author or mangaka, or I'm not even sure the proper terminology, but the writer of this series, I have faith in her to end this story magnificently. If she does, it's gonna be this series has impressed me in so many ways since I started it. I have complete faith in her to finish this series strongly, and I can't wait to see how it ends. Although it's going to be really sad when it does end. A friend of mine suggested to me that it might end at around Retrace 100 because of the repetition of that number 100 throughout the series. You know, the 100-year cycle of rebirth and all that. And with the way this climax is going so far, I could see that happening, but we'll find out. Anyways, this is Gara Anime 5. I'm planning on doing another chapter talk after the next Retrace has been translated. I'm aware I'm really late on talking about this one, but what can you do? Anyways, I'll see you next time.